poto, tēnā koe I te rangatiri he mana rawa kōsea, no mahara mai. Hina mati wangi tātou, nā hō mahi kua haere I te arai. Haere ati rā. Nō reira, kina kai mai, ko tai mai ki te whakanui tēnei rā, te purapura aki. It's like, to me, the honour when you're asked to do a eulogy for someone's lifetime. And for me, it's a lifetime of this mill. And how do you capture that in a very short time frame with limited words? I'd just like to also acknowledge my teina, my number one brother-in-law, for warming the way for me to come to start my kōrero today. So, kia ora, just a little reflection. We talk about the modi, the spirit of this mill, the spirit which will live on through the contributions of everyone through their lifetimes in so many forms of contribution into the communities, into this workplace as well. For me, the first thing in my childhood that I recollect was the noise of a great bulldozer dragging our house from where the wood prep is across the other side of the road in 1952 for the start of the foundation of the mill. So it is a long lifetime journey for me. And so for us, Onipu became Kawerau, because that was what we knew this place was then, was Onipu. The name change came with the formation of the new town. So with that new town formation also came the commencement of a multinational community. The Irish from Arden doing all the drain laying, the digging work, the Finns, the Dutch people that came as part of pulp development and operations in the mill. The many tradespersons, the English, the Scotch, all those that came across to bring trade skills for the formation of this mill. And so not only did we start a multinational community, but we saw the many iwi, Maina Motu Katoa, Ngāpuhi, Te Wānahapuni, all those that came here looking for work as well. It became a fantastic community, particularly of blending of people of so many nations. You didn't just get a job, you also got accommodation, which was something quite amazing, to walk into new homes. Not only new home, but we had the flats on Onslow Street, we had the village, and then the top camp up here for the workers from the green chain and the sawmill. So everyone not only had work, but they had accommodation. It was very, very unique in its ways. For all those that weren't living here, we can recall the buses from Rātoki and Rotiti and the traditional stops after work to fill the flagons up on the way home. You know, cultures that were created over time. We also saw the formation of so many clubs that this industry and the workforce across it unilaterally gave to build the squash clubs, the golf clubs, the rugby clubs, the soccer clubs, all those clubs that became such an entity across not only our communities, but delivered so much and so many successes across many, many areas as well. We also saw those contributions out into the wider community. Rautahi Marae, the Wharekai at Hāhuru, and one individual I want to recognise is Max Bish for those contributions across so many areas of our community. The aroha that was given in terms of labour and also materials to allow so many of the clubs and other structures across this community to be created. I think that's where a terminology that will stick with us forever, the Uncle Tasman, came from. And it wasn't only in that space, you know, we had a staff member with, well, I think he had eight pairs of boots, and I think 5 of those were different sizes, from 6 to 10, so, you know, the culture lived on. It was also a great place for many whānau, where almost the whole whānau was employed. I think of the Savage whānau, with Mick and Tom and Jim and Cheetah and Rex and Tony, you know, 6 brothers, all employed in one industry. You wouldn't see that in many places, but those whānau connections became such a strong part of who we were. Also at that time, we saw the development of so many events across the community, the re-establishment of the mountain race, Ty Mitchell sports, and who participated in those over the years. We had the cultural day, wood skills, Tasman picnic. I've had people in the last week, 40-year-old pluses, reminiscing about the highlight of their year was waiting to go to the Tasman picnic and the amazing gifts and stuff that were given and activities around it. So, you know, there was so much generated that us second generations are still recalling as highlights in their lifetime. Top Town. I know it wasn't a mill event, but the contribution of the mill in that space of employees, fabricating, training materials and things like that, no one stood a chance against Kawerau for 2 years in a row. Highlights that put us in a public, positive profile space. The other one, inter-shift sports. Never mind the All Blacks, brothers. When A shift made B shift, or the wood print, paper machine, forget all of that. That's when the bodies were put on the line. That's where fellas that you didn't even think had any sporting capability gave their blood on the paddock to be able to go there and have a beer with pride afterwards, no matter who won. So there were so many things that happened amongst us as a workforce that built us and made us stronger together. The other thing is the Fletcher. Then came the era of Fletcher Challenge when they came in with the major corporate, the largest corporate in the country, 4% of gross product, Fletcher Forestry, Fletcher Building, Fletcher Pulp and Paper, and Fletcher Energy. And who can't forget the team building, building exercises down the Wairaki and Taupo. I think Rex O'Brien and Pep Waititi still hold the tab for the highest tab in those occasions. So yeah, the humour that was created in having those offside events as well. Sadly, at the back end of that, we saw the introduction of automation that made such a significant impact on this mill. I looked and reflect back to the wood prep, 120 people employed in that space, down to a bare half dozen operating blowers from what was traditionally the block sorting, the block pile, all those sectors. The wood prep, the groundwood, home of the muscle men, you know, picking logs, pulling logs in the grinders day after day. 60 employees all gone into the mechanical pulp mill. So we saw that impact right across the workforce of change that was occurring and the reduction in jobs. I think we went from 2,100 at the peak, the first change at the closure of number 1 machine, we went to 16, number 2 down to 900, and so it's progressively occurred today. I just reflect back on, Tane talked about so many of the amazing personalities. We could go on forever in those union spaces and the work spaces and the leadership spaces that have made such a contribution to this mill and as importantly to our community. I wish each and every one of you the best in your futures. Take care of yourselves, take care of your whānau. I can tell you, as Hori and I will confirm, there is life after Tasman. It may be different, but there is life. But you've got to look after each other. There's times when you'll be challenged about your mana, your self-worth, if you're looking for work for a period of time. Don't get lost. Don't be isolated. Look for supports. Look for other things you can do. But I have been honoured to be here today to speak to you all. I think one or two may enjoy a beer at the Cozy after. That's the traditional space. But other than that, tēnei te mihi arawa ki a koutou katoa. Kia ora. I thank the mill management. It's an honour for us to be pai poto and Tūwharetoa to be invited here to be part of this day. It was a true privilege. Me koe rei e te rangatira. So thank you for your time, Steve. And if you can express back to Norske Skog, honestly, they absolutely brought a culture of change, a culture of commitment to the environment and to its people, a recognition of our culture which we never saw before. So, tō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.